Hey guys, Silenthunder here with a quick guide on how I have Trade Skill Master set up for my current content MoP Mr. Pandaria items. So the first thing I've done is opened my tailoring profession, and you may get a pop-up. If not, click on TSM groups and click create profession groups. After you've done that, just let me do that again because I think I was filtered where I had typed in Windwolf, so I'm going to do it once more here. After that, open up Trade Skill Master, go to groups, and it created one called Professions for you if you didn't already have it. Created one named Tailoring, Crafts, and Materials. Under Crafts is everything that you can craft with tailoring, and under Materials is all the items used to craft those items. So I'm going to select crafts and I'm going to make some subgroups. So in this guide I'm going to focus on crafted malevolent gear. I'm going to make another group, click on crafts again, spell threads, click on crafts, management, another subgroup. I'll call this one Windwool green gear. So that's the crafted green windwool gear. And I'm going to make one more, and I'm going to call it windwool blue procs. Because when you craft the green gear, 1 in 10 chance you're going to proc a blue version. I'll show you what that is in a minute. So first, for the crafted malevolent gear, I'm going to get some items into the groups. There's a couple ways you can do that. You can click on items, and you could do a filter search. Crafted malevolent. And I don't know any of the recipes on this tune. This is one of my other priests. So for the sake of this, I'm going to actually import my data. Copy it here. Import. Alright, so now if I go back to items, I have all the crafted malevolent. Actually, I have 2 pieces crafted dreadful in here. I'll have to fix that later. But all the crafted malevolent gear is in this group now. Now, for spell threads, I'm going to do the same. And again, you could click on items and type in or scroll through the list and select the items you want. For example, the windwool gear. I'll do that on next. So windwool blue procs. I could go to items, and if I have the item in my bag, I can find it in the list, and there's a windwool blue proc, just for example. So here's the green version. It's 384 item level, requires level 85. And then the blue version, slightly better stats, still requires level 85, but this one's 415 item level. You can sell these quite a bit higher than the green version. So I'm going to add that into that group, and I'm actually going to do a full import here. Get all the blue procs that I've learned so far, which is not all of them, but it will help me with this guide a little bit. And same thing with the greens. You can either click on items, you can type in a filtered search, just type it in, hit enter. I don't want the bolt of windwool cloth in there, but I want everything else. And I'm just going to do a full import here again. Alright, so now I should have a bunch of items in there. No. Didn't hit enter, I guess. I guess that's all it wants to give me. Alright, well, for the sake of this video, that's more than enough to get this set up. Okay, so now that we have our groups made, I'm actually going to create some operations. So let's start with the crafted malevolent gear. I'm going to create an auctioning operation, so module operations, auctioning. Call this one, I'm just going to call it malevolent. Match stack size. This item can't be stacked, so that doesn't matter. We click on post. How long do you want to post the items for? I'm going to leave it at 24 hours. I'm going to post 2 of each item. Stack size is going to be 1, obviously. I like to go 95% bid. You can go with whatever works for you. So that's the bid percent would be a lower price than the actual buyout. Undercut amount, I like to leave it at 1 copper for my crafted gear. Minimum price. So what I like to use for a lot of my crafted stuff is 110% crafting. And what that is 110% of the crafting cost. So 100% would cover the mats, the materials. 5% for the auction house cut, and then a little bit of profit. So that's the minimum I would sell them for. And then from there, the normal price, I like to go 500% crafting, and maximum would be 1000% crafting. Alright, now if you use an import list and you import items in that you do not have the crafts for, maybe you bought them off the auction house to reset the price or something, or you acquired them some other way and you have the items in your bags, if you use percent of crafting cost, it will come up as invalid. Just a heads up. So if that happens, you may need to put them in a separate group and use the fixed price amount. Fixed price amount, like if you click on this, brings up a window in the right here. Here's an example here of like just 20 gold, 50 silver. That's a fixed gold amount. You can also use like vendor price. There's a link here that you can type into a browser and go see all the different options that you can use. So from there, we'll make another operation. This one will be for the spell thread. Post general, I'm going to match stack size on these because they can be stacked. I only want to sell them in the same stack size as singles. I like to post these for 12 hours. You can do 1 or 2 at a time. I choose to do 2. Bid percent 95% again. I like to keep my bid a little bit lower, and I'm going to use the same 110% of crafting. Normal price, let's go 1000% crafting. Again, you can play around with these numbers and change them to fit you, and I'm going to go 3000% crafting here. And I don't want to post these items if it's below my minimum, and I think I left my malevolent gear the same, not to post the items. Now we need another auctioning operation for our Windwool green gear. I'm going to do the same thing again, except I'm going to post these ones for 24 hours. I don't need to match the stack size because these items can't be stacked. I'm going to post them. I post a maximum of 3 of each item because there is different random enchants on them, so I want to post up to 3 of each enchant. Now if I get more than that, I tend to mail them off to my enchanter and disenchant them. Match stack size does not matter, or the stack size doesn't matter, just leave that at 1. 95% again for my bid. 1 copper undercut is fine for me. My minimum price, again, I do 110% crafting. I like to go 600% crafting on my green gear for my normal price, so, and then the maximum, I guess 1000% is enough, because I don't want it to be too unrealistic of a price, because this green gear I want to turn over as quick as possible. because the gold I make is actually in the blue procs. I make most of the gold from the blue procs. So I want to get as many of those as possible. Here's an example of a blue proc versus a green one. So they're both wind wool gear, wind wool boots. One's a blue version, one's a green version. So I make much more gold off the blue ones, but it's only 1 in 10 chance. Now with my crafted green gear, I like to post it at normal price if it's below my minimum, just to keep it out of my bags and free up some bag space. There is some posting fees involved in this. Chances are maybe somebody will buy theirs and then mine will be the next available for sale, or maybe they'll see that they're selling theirs too cheap and raise their price to match mine. So I like to post it at normal price, but you can play around with that and see what works for you. Finally, we need an auctioning operation for our blue procs. And wool blue procs. Match stack size does not matter since it can't be stacked. Post. I'm going to post them for 24 hours. Post cap of 3 again. Bid percent, I'm going to go 95%. Undercut by 1 copper. Now this blue proc, you cannot find wind wool blue boots in your crafting spellbook. So you can't use percent of crafting for these guys. So what I like to use is a fixed pricing amount. Maybe 295 gold for the minimum. My normal price I use on my blue proc gear is 1295 gold. And let's set a maximum of maybe 2000 gold. I don't want to post these items if it's below my minimum, because if it is below that minimum, they'll stay in my bags and I'll notice, and maybe I'll search the auction house, and if there's 1 or 2 on there cheap, maybe I'll buy them out and reset the price. Because I've sold a significant amount of blue proc gear for 1295 gold, and even up to the current date here in patch 5.4, I still sell it for 1295 gold on a regular basis. Doesn't mean I'll sell it all at 1295 gold. If somebody else is posting it already and it's above my minimum price, I'm gonna undercut them. So now that we have our auctioning operations made for these 4 items, the crafted malevolent gear, the spell thread, the wind wool green gear, and the blue proc gear, we need a crafting operation. So operation name, let's go crafted malevolent. Maximum restock quantity, I like to keep 2. You may want to do 3 or 4, maybe you only want to do 1 if you're on a lower to medium pop server. Don't forget to set your minimum profit. If you leave it at 100 gold, it might be a bit high for profit margin on these. I typically like to go about 30 to 50 gold. I like to stay very competitive, so I'm going to keep mine at 30. You could probably do 50. I'm on a higher pop server, and there's very high competition in these. You don't always get an extremely high profit, so I like to keep it at least posted and crafted. Even if I'm going to make a little bit, I'd rather turn over a lot of little items and make lots of profit than sit and wait to sell something for a big price. Alright, so I've got my... That's basically it for a crafting operation. I don't touch the default craft method. If I sell 1, it's going to tell me to craft 1, and I'm going to keep 2 in stock, and it's always going to craft when it's a minimum profit of 30 gold. It's important that you scan the auction house first as well to make sure you have accurate data, because if you're setting a minimum profit off the crafting cost, it needs to know what the price of wind wool cloth is and bolts of wind wool off your auction house. The best way to do this is with the Trade Skill Master application, but basic auction house scans will get you by. It's just not as accurate. So I need another crafting operation for spell threads. Alright, I'm going to set my minimum profit on these to 50 gold. I like to I like to stock quite a few of these. I think I do 20 at a time. That doesn't mean I post all 20 at once. That means I craft 20 at a time, and then I'll post them 2 at a time. As I get undercut, I post 2 more, and so on. That's basically it for that one. Another crafting operation for windwall gear. So minimum restock quantity 1, I'm just going to leave that there. If I sell one, I want to craft another one. I like to go 6 on my crafted green gear, but I've raised this up to 10 in the past, down to 5. I kind of bounce around with it. It depends on what kind of demand's in that market at the time. At the moment, I believe I'm using 6. And I set my minimum profit quite low on this stuff. I think it's around 15 gold. Because I want to be, every chance I get to craft some of this, I want to be able to craft it. And I'll sell it very cheap, just above crafting cost, so that I have more chances to craft the blue procs. And again, I don't change this. Now, where the blue procs are just that, they're a proc, I cannot create a crafting operation for them. So it's whatever I get is what I get. So now I'm going to go back to my groups, under Tailoring, Crafts, Crafted Malevolent. I'm going to apply my auctioning operation for the Malevolent gear, and the crafting operation. That's set. That's ready to craft now at my set minimum price, and then sell it on the auction house. Spell threads, I'm going to do the same. Crafting, or the auctioning operation for spell thread, crafting operation for spell thread. Windwool blue procs, I cannot apply the crafting operation to this since it's a proc, but I can apply my auctioning operation still. Windwool blue procs. And then the windwool green gear. So auctioning operation, windwool green. Crafting operation, windwool greens. So now it's telling me to craft and sell my windwool green gear. One thing I'm going to mention. Right now, where I have an auctioning operation applied to this group of windwool green gear, I have items with no random enchants attached to them. So the base stats, base gear. If I do this right now, and I went to the auction house and did a post scan, even though I have different boots, windwool boots in my bags, it's going to post them all undercut the cheapest one. So if the of the scorpions cheaper than of the master, boots of the master will undercut boots of the scorpion, because I have this one with no random enchant in this group. So my way around that is I create a new subgroup. You can name it whatever. I'm just going to name it Windwool. And what I'm going to do is go to items, do a filter, Windwool, and I'm only going to check off, so I want the ones lit up that have no random enchants on them. I'm going to put those in a separate group. Now that these are in the separate group, I can go back to operations. I'm going to override the auctioning operation, and I'm going to set no auctioning operation to this group. I'm going to leave my crafting operation attached to it because I still wanted to craft these items, but when I sell them, if I go back to my other subgroup, Windwool Greens, go to my items, I only want it to undercut. I want Boots of the Master to undercut Boots of the Master, for example. I don't want it to undercut Boots of the Panther. If there's no other Boots of the Master on the auction house, I want it to set it at my normal price, which is 335 gold for this item. So that's how you accomplish that. Take your items that have no random enchants attached to them and put them in a separate group, and then remove the auctioning operation. I'm sure there's a few ways you can do this. This is just how I got around it, and it's been working good for me. I also do this with items like my Jasper rings, Alakite pennants, anything that has a random enchant when you craft it. Alright, so I think that covers just about everything. Don't forget to scan the auction house. If you are getting an error and it's saying item group is invalid when you're trying to post in your chat, double check and make sure you've scanned the auction house, and then check and see, make sure you don't have a % of crafting cost attached to an item that you can't craft, for example the blue procs. And don't forget to put your blue procs that have no random enchants attached into their own subgroup as well, otherwise the same thing will happen. So you'd want to repeat this step here where I have them separated with no auctioning operation attached for those ones as well. Just make sure I got everything covered here. I think I do. Alright guys, until the next time, I hope you guys enjoyed this guide, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll be coming out with more soon, as well as a guide on some other things that you can craft with tailoring to make some profit. But just to keep this guide as short as possible, I chose to focus on a setup guide for current content Mista Pandaria items.